Hey guys, I'm Pokemon86 and welcome back to a brand new video. In this video in particular, I'm going to be talking about something that I tweeted out about not a long time ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. And this is a video that I want to do because I think it'd be kind of cool. And without further ado, let's jump in the video. So, I've had my Nintendo Switch since it launched in 2017. You know, I just had the little Joy-Cons for a while. But I got a controller when Smash Ultimate dropped. I went to the midnight release at GameStop, and I copped the game, and I copped this controller, which is the wireless Gold Smash controller, which I used a lot, and that was like my main controller for just about any game I played, such as like Mario Kart, Smash, Mario Odyssey, ARMS, anything, you name it. And then I got a Pikachu controller, you know, from Target. It was on sale for like $20-some. It's just the same thing as this, really. They're all the same controllers. I like it a lot. This ended up becoming like my main controller. So then I ended up having more than just two controllers. You know, it was great. So that way others, if they want to use a GameCube type controller, they could. While I was in the hospital, my girlfriend surprised me with a Nintendo Switch Wireless Pro controller, like a legit one. I even have the box here because I wanted to keep the box because why not? Here it is right here, and honestly guys, I have fallen in love with this controller. You know, there's obviously some differences to the controllers, and I want to discuss them with you guys. Let's jump on in. So right off the bat, I'm gonna start with this one since I'm holding it. And what I like about it is that it's not light, and I know some people are like, they like lighter, the whole lighter controllers and stuff, but this thing is not light. This thing is actually heavy. It's almost as heavy as an Xbox One controller, and those things are like thick and heavy. Get demonetized. What's one thing I like? Plus, this is, I mean, those are Nintendo Switch controllers too, but this is like the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and I like the feel of the analog sticks and the, you know, the buttons and all that stuff. It just feels really nice holding it in your hands, and it does feel great. Just doing that and all that, it feels nice. It really does feel nice, and it feels like I'm holding like, it feels weird because it feels like I'm holding like somewhere between an Xbox One controller and a PS4 controller. So it's like the weirdest feeling out there. And plus the rumble effect is like great. Like and then like the sound quality that you get through this is nice too. I didn't even know that sometimes you get sound through this. Plus I like the little designs that you see on the inside of it, like those little designs. You guys can kind of maybe get a look, those little things there too. That's also really cool. Plus I like how it has a little Nintendo Switch logo on the top, and there's a button here that you can sync. And what I like about this compared to like something like this is that, yeah, they may be the same kind of, but pressing the sync button on this is a lot easier than pressing on this kind of controller here. Plus there's a little cord, so if you need to charge your controller. I got this a couple weeks ago and I have yet to need to charge it, and that's one thing I like about it too. I don't know, it just lasts a while. But with these, I had this for about I want to say I got this back like in September. I want to say maybe September. So it's like about a good 2 months, and I just put batteries in it a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's not bad too. Just not having to plug up a controller and let it charge every once in a while is great. Like this thing lasts longer than a PS4 controller, and my PS4 controller can stay off of a thing for like, what, a week?
Why you lying?
So, I mean, I'm just saying that's impressive that this kind of outbeats PS4 controller. I can also even read the back of this too, because I'm sure this might have some stuff. So this thing includes a rechargeable lithium ion battery that can last about 40 hours on a single charge. Before the first use, charge the Pro controller with the Nintendo Switch AC. Okay, adapter or include a USB charger. Okay, so honestly say that I've definitely surpassed that 40 hours mark. Alright, so I'm gonna jump to the difference in these now, because before I go online and kind of just read differences that other people might have pointed out that I didn't know about, Now with this controller, if you don't have the funds, which like me, I didn't have the funds for a Switch Pro controller. If you don't have the funds for it, these will actually do you pretty good justice. 40 something for this is like 40 some dollars, and this is like a light feature, you know, like these are light. What's weird about this is that this definitely does feel like I'm holding a GameCube controller, because GameCube controllers are very light and I like it, and just the analog sticks are kind of like a little rough to move around a bit, you know, so it's a little rough, but they do you good. And then, you know, like clicking the buttons and stuff, it's literally just like holding a GameCube controller, but you have like extra little menu stuff up here for your Switch. Like you have the home button to get you home, the start, the minus button, and then I don't know what this button does. And then there's a little like sync button up at the top here, right there, which is cool too. I personally would rather play with the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. With that, it's weird. You feel like you're actually holding the controller. But if you want that nostalgia, like GameCube feeling, you can get this too. The batteries will last you, depending on the kind you use. I feel like they'd last you about maybe like a good month or so. Unless you use it quite frequently, then you might have to like find yourself having to put in new batteries every once in a while. But other than that, you know, it's not terrible. You know, it's cheap, it's affordable. Like, I mean, I know nobody wants to drop 40 some dollars on a controller, but I mean, if you can do it with an Xbox One or a PlayStation, why can't you really just do it with this? Plus, I stirred away from buying a Pro controller for the longest time, only because they were so expensive. They were like almost $70, and actually they've gone down in price to like 65 at Walmart there. I don't know about GameStop, but at Walmart this was like $65, maybe 60 something, maybe like 68 or 7 plus tax. But originally they were like $70, and I was not gonna drop $70 on no controller. I'm sorry, I would buy these over a $70 controller any day. These get the job done in the end of the day if you really need a wireless controller. And like I said, they don't feel bad, they feel great. It's definitely lighter, like I mentioned, it's lighter, and GameCube controllers are light. Sometimes there's difficulties syncing it up to your Switch. Plus the C stick is kind of weird. You know, on the GameCube controller, the C stick I felt like was a lot bigger, or it was a taller at least, and it was more doable. But this one is kind of like, it feels smaller, and like I have like a big thumb, so it's kind of feels weird trying to like, you know, just kind of do that, and it just feels really weird. I looked up online a couple things that I've noticed differently within the Switch controllers, and I guess you would call the other ones that I have, I think they're the third-party Pro controllers, the PowerA Enhanced wireless controllers. The one main thing I think this seems to be the difficulty is the hefty price tag on the actual Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which I agree. I guess on Amazon they did drop down in price by like $10 or so, because when the Switch first came out, those controllers were running at about $70. To me personally, I think that's too expensive. Maybe I guess they really enhanced like the detail and quality within a controller for like a Nintendo controller compared to, like, you know, ones on the Wii U, because even like the wireless ones on the Wii U, they were a bit pricey, but not like $60-70 pricey. The differences that I mostly see here, so for the Pro controller, you know, like I mentioned, it feels fantastic in the hands, and I agree. That's what I said too. And I'm looking on this site called iMore, and they talked about this. This was published by Jazz Brown in January 13th of 2018. I'll leave a link in the description below. You know, you guys can go look for yourselves and stuff. The differences this person said is that, you know, like I said, it feels good in the hands, good D-pad, USB charging, NFC reader, and rumble. And I did like the fact that it had an NFC reader and, you know, the rumble feature like I mentioned. I like that. Now, for the enhanced PowerA one, what's really good about that is the price, and I agree, because I mentioned this earlier in the video that I would never really drop 70 on controllers. That's why I don't really have another set of Joy-Con controllers, because, you know, I get paid pretty decently from my job, but when you got bills to pay, or if you want to do stuff with your friends, or even if you want to buy like a game or like a couple movies, I'd rather buy a game or something. Now it'd be different if I had like siblings and if I didn't have any controllers, or people preferred using the Joy controllers, or someone went in half with me. But personally, I would not drop 70 or 65 for Pro controllers either, for a Pro controller or for Joy-Cons. So I would say the price for the enhanced controller, yeah, that's a pretty good price. I'd pay that. That's almost equivalent to buying like an Xbox One controller or a PS4 controller. The programmable buttons, the buttons are pretty good. Like I mentioned, like I said, it makes it feel like I'm actually using a GameCube controller from back in the day. The material obviously doesn't feel the same as a GameCube controller. It feels lighter, and it feels like it could like easily break. It feels like a child's toy in a way. Like the material feels like it's not quite there. It feels too light versus like an actual GameCube controller too. But, and then this person says slightly better D-pad. I don't know about that. Excuse me, I don't know about that. But just the fact that there's no NFC reader or rumble. So they mentioned a couple other details here. Like I said, the costs are pretty hefty. The Pro controller has about 40 hours versus the enhanced controller has 30 until you have to change the batteries. But yeah, those are basically all the differences that I can tell in the controller and that I've read that I agree with or disagree with. If you can afford it, go get you a Nintendo Switch wireless Pro controller. If you can afford to drop that amount on it, do it. I would recommend it. It actually is a really nice controller, a very nice controller. But if you're more on the cheaper side and can't really afford to drop that amount, nor do you want to, just stick with the enhanced, just the enhanced PowerA wireless controllers. They did me justice up until I got a Pro controller. That should tell you something, that I was using the Joy-Cons and the little thing that you can make the Joy-Cons and knit them into a controller. I was using that for about a good year until December of 2018 when Smash came out. Then that's when I got my first controller, and then in September of this year I got the Pikachu controller. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, don't forget to turn on post notifications, that way you guys get notified when I upload videos. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Pokemon1086. You can also follow me on Instagram and on SoundCloud, links in the description below. Don't forget to check out my Afro Geek video, or my Afro Geek channel. Alrighty guys, I am Pokemon1086 and your boy is out of here.